Today, we're looking at a turquoise ink by Callifolio Botany Bay because obviously they were huge Star Trek fans and were rooting for Khan the entire time. Hi, I'm Adam and I'm an ink guy. There's timestamps down below so that you can skip around, but if you got the time, I would appreciate if you check out the entire video. Also, if you're interested, you can check me out over on Instagram. And if you're new here and like fountain pen inks, I would invite you to subscribe. I use 3 papers to standardize in some of my writing samples: Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. There are additional writing samples that'll come later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form, so it came in a vial that looked like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is a little lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and some very, very nice shading. Like quick starts darker, gets lighter, gets darker. Brown starts dark and gets light. Fox is dark on the left, light through the middle of the word, dark on the right. Lazy starts dark and gets light. You can't ask for better on this, on a nice blue-black. 7 seconds to dry. The medium is about the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and still some very nice shading. Quick starts dark, gets light, gets dark. Brown starts dark and works its way light. Fox does the same thing, a little bit of mid-tone, light into the center, very dark at the X. 12 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby's not showing nearly the color variation that we do get in the writing. Tomoe River. No bleeding, normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen. It does offer some shading. Now at first I didn't think it was until I saw it again. When you look at the botany, the A and beginning of Y is lighter. But the thing is, the A in Bay is a little lighter. And on Callifolio, the A to the 2 L's is a little bit lighter. So you are getting some nice shading even in the stub. The extra fine has no feather, the extra fine is a little bit lighter in tone. I got to get my spiel right. This long. What is this? 494 inks, and I'm messing that up. The extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and some very nice shading. Look at the light to dark, quick, dark to light to dark, brown, dark to light, nice. 13 seconds to dry. Now the medium is darker than the extra fine, about the same tone as the stub. No feather spread, halo sheen, and no shading. 21 seconds to dry. Scrubby shows no color variation, and we didn't get any. Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. No, it has shading. Look at the Bay. The AY lighter than the back of the Y. On Botany, the AN beginning to Y lighter. It definitely has some shading there. I don't know why I said no shade. I'm being foolish. No way. So the extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and yes, it does offer some shading. How do I see this shading without a problem? But that one eluded me. Brown starts dark, gets a little bit lighter, gets very dark again. Fox, the top of the F is lighter than the bottom of the F, lighter into the O, very dark into the X. It's got some nice subtle shading in there, and 8 seconds to dry. Now medium is darker than the extra fine, a little bit darker than the stub. It had no feather spread, halo sheen, and I'm not seeing the shading here. 13 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both aren't really showing any color variation, although the extra fine does have some. Con! I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see on the bottom this very nice purple. This is, as a blue-black goes, this is, it's really just shocking. So we have purple at the bottom. It's pushing, that's actually a green that's pushing its way up. And then this turquoise blue at the top. Wow, what an interesting combination. I really think I've got this color all wrong, calling it a blue-black. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. Now that purple on the bottom is much darker, much more there. Definitely shows us something that's going to be some kind of a resistance. That green is pushing its way up, and we still have that turquoise all the way at the top. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. Now, I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at that capital H in a highlighter, I would not use this in a note-taking situation because I really feel there's an opportunity for some of this to wash away. And I'm risk averse, which is weird when you look at the water, because water is pulling a lot of the darkest tones out. This is where we can really see that the purple, that's bonding with the paper. It's amazing to me how different the color of this ink is compared to what it looks like while it's writing. Pen flush is reactivating and lifting. It looks like it's even lifting some of the purple. Now the bottom part of the purple looks like it's being broken free, and the top doesn't. So I'm not sure that pen flush is going to do it, but I really do think that it will. Looking at how the bottom goes, I think pen flush is all you're going to need. The 1/3 bleach solution completely removes it from the paper. If you actually had to use that much 1/3 bleach solution, just flush your pen with water immediately after to get it off or out of your metal bits. My goodness, horrible day. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with a realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Now I'm going to link the video that shows how I do my testing and calculations. Callifolio's Botany Bay has a viscosity of 1.93, making this a wetter ink. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. I average those. Now for the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with a realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Callifolio's Botany Bay has an average dry time of 12 seconds, making this a faster drying ink. Instead of finding inks that look like Callifolio's Botany Bay, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. Now originally I was treating this like it was a blue-black, and I don't know why I was calling it a blue-black. I think it's some of the writing, it looked very dark. I'm calling it a turquoise now, and to go with that I wanted a very nice pink, and I chose Robert Oster's Pinky. The second writing sample is done on P. Berger, Levenger, and Strathmore writing paper. Here we're looking at P. Berger. It's a student grade French ruled paper. Now we have a lot of bleed spots that are going on, but it doesn't touch the page underneath, but it does make the back of the page unusable. Not that the ruling's there, so you may not even be using it. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is just a little lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. 2 seconds to dry. The medium is quite a bit darker than the extra fine and quite a bit darker than the stub. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 4 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. How about Levenger paper? Well, no bleeding or ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, and it does still offer some of that nice shading. Look at how Botany right at the T gets lighter through the rest of the word. So it does offer some shading at times. The extra fine is a little bit lighter overall than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen. It does offer some shading spots. You see in quick it's dark to a little lighter, much darker. Brown starts dark and gets light. Over starts dark and gets light. Jumps starts light and gets dark. Why did I say over is dark to light? It's light to dark. This is going to be one of my most botched reviews ever, and I am so sorry to anybody who's actually made it this far. The good news is most of you won't make it this far. 3 seconds to dry. The medium, oh my goodness. The medium is darker than the extra fine, just as dark as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get it. And thank God, this is the last paper. Strathmore writing paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, and it still offers that same kind of shading. Look right in botany. Starts darker, gets a little lighter, gets darker again, gets a little lighter. So we do get some shading even in the stub. The extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, and some decent shading. The K ink quick is much darker. The T and the is a bit lighter. Brown starts dark and gets light. Very nice stuff. 2 seconds to dry. Medium, much darker than the extra fine, a little bit darker than the stub, with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. And my goodness, I have botched so much. I am happy that this part is over, and I'm going to make myself live with it. That's all that I have for the writing samples. So what do I think of Callifolio's Botany Bay? I think it's very well behaved. Unlike Khan on board the Enterprise, he was really getting out of line. It offers very nice shading. Khan never threw shade, but this ink certainly does. I enjoyed the tone, I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed all of the references to Star Trek that they let me use. Go nerds! So what nib and pen give the best writing experience with this ink? While I enjoyed it in many pens, if they were too wet, it was just a little too dark. I preferred a medium flow, medium nib pen to really be able to get nice color, nice shading, and make me happy the whole time that I used it. If you've enjoyed this video and made it this far, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and tell me why. Thanks for watching. Huge Star Trek Wrath of Khan fan.